appreciate the opportunity. Russell Dover, parent of a girl in the Jersey City Public Schools. My question is two-part. One, and it follows really on what Monique was asking about, which is sort of like the definition of the role. So the first part of the question is, what do you think needs to be changed that within your term you think it's your job to change and could get changed in the Jersey City Public Schools? And then the second part of it is, what do you think is not part of your role on the board, but that needs to be changed, that it's someone else's local responsibility to change? So either the superintendent or something that the mayor or city council could do. So two parts.
Great, I think that was worth waiting for. Natalia, we'll start with you.
Oh boy, I was just about to put my thoughts together. Well, what I can definitely change as a board member that is within my realm is continue advocating and speaking on behalf of our schools on, city and state level. And it's all about the money. You see, for me, that's been my focus since 2016, and to solve this problem, because my biggest fear is just, laying off teachers, specialists, and how that will impact our students in the classrooms. So in order to solve that problem, we need to implement solutions immediately, right? And so within the school district itself, there are very easy solutions, such as the purchasing system, which I may have discussed before you walked in. There are certain things that are in place that are just bleeding money out of the school district, via the bureaucratic purchasing systems that don't allow access to the free market, that don't allow free market strategies, that cost us a lot, of just funds being lost. And that's something that I would love to change. And it's totally doable because we have been doing it on very small scales as parents, and something that's not within my realm, but I would love to see changed, and that is something like the pilot payment reform, and to allow some of that money, abatement money, to come into the schools, finally.
Time. All right, very good. Ms. Abdallah?
So I would like to make a whole bunch of changes, as anyone would want to. We want our schools to be successful as any other school. I always keep saying this, 100% graduation rates. It's really, really, really important. McNair has it, every other school should have it. So I would love to see every student graduate, everyone have, whether they're gonna go to college or they're gonna have a career that they're gonna get into, and just live their life and to keep going. As far as city-wise and, funding, the funding is, we have a bigger budget than the city council, so I feel like we're not spending that money wisely, and we're not using that money for the important things, whether it's recreation, whether it's counselors, whether mental health, mental illness. These things are very, very important to our students. So I think that's where the money should be going. That's where our focus should be going. Like, we're talking about facilities and all that, but yeah, the facilities matter, but the programs matter.
Time.
The counseling matters. So thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Roman?
I would first like to have teachers teach. If you speak to teachers, they will tell you that they are not allowed to teach, that anybody can do what they're doing, because so much of it is programmed work that comes in on expensive programs. $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 for programs. We have them in the district for 3 or 4 years, they don't work. Even the test scores don't even move up an inch. And so we have to do something with regard to that. So we need to give more responsibility to teachers and help them to teach. We need financial accountability too. And you might say, well, you've been on the board for 6 years, how come we couldn't get that? Sometimes I was the only person on the board who ever said anything about it. Everybody had a very limited vocabulary, they said yes. And we cannot always just say yes. We are there to ask questions, to be able to vote properly when the time comes to vote. That's an important thing.
Time.
And the other thing has to do with the mayors and the city council. They need to be more involved with us. It's their city as well as ours.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ms.
So for me, I think the one thing that I'd like to change while I'm on the board is just to fully establish local control within Jersey City Public Schools. I know Jonas talked about it greatly, but I think it's very important for us to have complete control over our district, complete oversight on what's going on locally, so that we can have local solutions to what's going on. But I think the other thing that really needs to change, and one thing that I hope can get done for the next 3 years, is this deficit being shrunk again. Because right now it's a $70 million deficit. I mean, it wasn't always this way. A couple years ago it was $40 million, the year before that was $20 million, and at one point we were in a surplus of $100 million in a savings account. At this point, our excess fund or surplus account is basically dry. We can't take any money away from that. And that's something that I personally can't do, but I hope that we can get that financial accountability done so that we have a deficit that's back to zero.
Thank you, Ms. Saab. Joan?
I'm concerned, even though I am advocating for local control, I am concerned about that budget. Those two budgets are going to be huge when combined. I would like to see more oversight when that happens, and even before that happens. We need to have that audit. We need to know where the money has been going. We need a report from the state what they've done and where they hope to go. We just want them to leave beside it. And at this point, our teachers are spending too much of their own personal dollars to support what they are providing for the children. That's not fair. This state has enough money to handle all of that. We need more oversight. We need more auditors in the system just to track those dollars.
Thanks, Joan. Dominique?
So my understanding of different aspects of the board's role is to make a unified effort with regard to establishing vision and policy for the direction of our schools. I plan on bringing my expertise in higher education, my expertise in college readiness, and also student retention and development programs. That is a creative, I guess you can say, special sauce that I have not seen yet reflected in the decision-making that our past boards have been able to kind of pull from their bag of tricks. So I'll be bringing that to the table, as well as, of course, lobbying the state continuously for resources, and of course, doing my very best to work with those that have the vision of our students at the forefront across the city, assembly folk, state folk, everybody you name it, who is
10
willing to
seconds.
work in the vision, in the mission of our student development.
I always like the McDonald's special sauce. Anyway, Neil, bring us home.
Thanks for the question. So for me, I think one of the things, and it seems to be on everyone's mind, is financial oversight and making sure that we understand exactly where every dollar is going, that we as elected officials are accountable for your taxpayers' money, and we can make sure that if there are gaps to close, we close them. If there's overspending on things, we close them. Things change year to year. This is a big machine, right? If you don't look at it diligently, you're going to miss things, and that's how overspending happens. As far as advocating outside of my role, what I would do is, if I understand it correctly, we're labeled as like an SDA district, meaning we cannot bond to build any new facilities as a district. That's what, and to me, that needs to change. We have 26 schools, I believe it is, that are over 80 years old in this
10
district.
seconds.
And access to updated facilities is something that I will advocate for. And the last thing is, like, these meetings as a board member will be held by me more so that I can continue to represent and hear voices from the community on that board.
Thanks, Neil. All righty then. Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone up here, all the candidates. I think they deserve a round of applause. We started a couple minutes late, took a few other questions. Obviously, these are people who care. And other than that, I just want to thank you for letting me be a part of it, and I'll let Gina wrap it up from there.
So I just want to thank you on behalf of Parents Take Action for coming out tonight, and I wish you all the luck. It's a big job, I know, I think there's something else I wanted to say, but I just look very thankful that you're here and that we got a lot of questions in, and good luck, get some rest. I know how it is going to be tomorrow and the day after that until Election Day, but I want to thank John Hyannis from Hudson County View for facilitating.
You're welcome.
And I think that was the second thing I wanted to say. But that's it for tonight. You can take a rest now. Thank you very much again, and
Thank you, too, Judy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.